Referees, when they do mess up, they usually mess up in the most catastrophic and game-changing ways imaginable.
They blew the call. That call puts in 1st and 10. We're on an E3 plays, and it's a game-changing call.
It's hard not to think how some NFL moments could have played out if officials didn't commit such mind-numbing miscues that are still widely talked about today. Here are the NFL's 15 worst referee mistakes of all time. The Nola No Call. What else could possibly start this list? And it ain't recency bias either. This will go down as the worst referee mistake in NFL history, and largely because it cost a team a Super Bowl berth.
Breeze. Pass is incomplete, no flag. Crowd's going crazy.
The New Orleans Saints and Los Angeles Rams were tied 20 apiece with less than 2 minutes remaining in the 2018 NFC Championship game. New Orleans was in the red zone, and a first down would have allowed them to burn the clock and set up Will Lutz for an easy game-winning field goal. On 3rd down, Drew Brees threw a pass to Tommy Lee Lewis, who was tackled by Nickel Roby-Coleman well before the ball had arrived. Yet, the officials didn't throw a flag, and so the Saints had to settle for a field goal without being able to run out the clock. That gave the Rams time to drive down the field and kick a game-tying field goal at the end of regulation. And they went on to win in overtime. This call was so atrocious that the NFL agreed to make pass interference calls and no calls reviewable for the 2019 season. However, the system was such a disaster that the league scrapped it after 1 year. Jerry Rice's missed fumble call cost Packers. The rival San Francisco 49ers and Green Bay Packers met in the postseason for the 4th straight year in the 1998 wildcard round at Candlestick Park. Green Bay was clinging to a 27-23 lead in the final minute. With under 45 seconds to go, Steve Young found Jerry Rice on a short crosser that he took into Packers territory. Rice was ruled down, but replays showed that he clearly fumbled the football before hitting the ground. San Fran kept the football, and they took advantage of the officiating miscue when Steve Young found a young phenom named Terrell Owens in the end zone to win the game. Dez caught it. The Packers and Dallas Cowboys renewed their rivalry at Lambeau Field in the 2014 NFC Divisional Round. The two teams pieced together another epic chapter of their historic rivalry, which predictably came down to the very end. Green Bay led 26-21 with less than 5 minutes remaining, but Dallas had the ball in Packers territory. Facing a 4th and 2 play, Tony Romo heaved a deep pass to star receiver Dez Bryant, who made a brilliant catch near the goal line to set up 1st and goal. However, the Pack challenged the call, and the officials overturned it, citing that Bryant didn't survive the ground. Green Bay got the ball back and melted the rest of the clock to pull away with a 26-21 victory. Now, hate on the Cowboys all you want, but they got robbed by the NFL's horrendous catching rules. The Fail Mary. The only good thing to come out of this game was the fact it marked the end of the failed replacement referee saga. For the first 3 weeks of 2012, the NFL had to use replacement refs because the main officials were on strike. The result was costly for a lot of teams. But not just teams, also players, gamblers, and fantasy football owners alike. But the replacement refs especially cost the Green Bay Packers in Week 3 on Monday Night Football. On the game's final play, Russell Wilson threw a Hail Mary to the end zone that was seemingly picked off by MD Jennings. But at the last second, Seahawks receiver Golden Tate grabbed at the ball and tried to wrestle it away from Jennings. Likely influenced by the raucous Seattle crowd, the replacement refs awarded simultaneous possession and gave Tate the touchdown. But moments before that, Tate also got away with clear-cut offensive pass interference on Packers defender Sam Shields. Somehow, 2 horrible calls on the same play went in Seattle's favor, and so they escaped with a 14-12 victory. A Giants missed PI call. The New York Giants were poised to leave the 2002 NFC Wildcard Showdown in San Francisco with a win, or so we all thought at least. The Giants jumped out to a 38-14 lead late in the 3rd quarter, but just when it seemed like it was all done, San Francisco reeled off 25 unanswered points and carried a 39-38 lead into the final minute. Giants quarterback Kerry Collins pieced together a superb drive, however, setting up kicker Matt Bryant with a chance to play hero. But the snap was botched, and holder Matt Allen desperately threw a deep ball down the field to Tam Hopkins, who was then tackled before the pass arrived. The officials threw a flag, but shockingly, it was on the Giants for an ineligible man downfield. The 49ers should have also been penalized for defensive pass interference, which would have replayed the down. But The officials just didn't call it. And so, San Fran escaped, albeit in controversial fashion, with one of the greatest comeback wins of all time. Lions hosed by call, then no call. In some ways, it feels like the Detroit Lions get hosed by the officials more than absolutely anybody else. I mean, very few teams got royally screwed as badly as the Lions did in the 2014 NFC wildcard round against Dallas. Detroit, looking to win their first playoff game since 1991, led 20-17 with 8.5 minutes remaining in the fourth. On 3rd down and 1, Matt Stafford threw a pass to Brandon Pettigrew that fell incomplete. Pettigrew was clearly interfered with though, and a flag was thrown. Except officials discussed it and eventually picked up the flag.
Boy, that was late. Have you ever seen that call picked up that late? Not at all.
So, Detroit had to punt, and Tony Romo would find Terrence Williams in the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown with 2.5 minutes remaining. Dallas's defense would hold on from there, and the Cowboys would escape with one of the most controversial victories in NFL postseason history.
No contact before the ball arrived. I've never in the history seen one turned over. Congratulations. First time in the history that's happened.
Roughing the passer penalty for playing defense. Roughing the passer seems to draw more anger and controversy than any other NFL rule or penalty, and understandably so. For instance, the officials deemed the roughing the passer on Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Oh, there is a flag. Defense number 95.
Right there, he slaps. And right where?
Instead of a 3rd down situation, the Patriots went on to score the go-ahead touchdown on that drive, and they went on to win the game in overtime en route to a Super Bowl 53 championship. Primetime gets away with PI on Michael Irvin. The 49ers and Cowboys met in the NFC Championship game for the 3rd straight year in 1994. San Fran was holding to a 38-28 lead with just over 6 minutes remaining. At midfield, Troy Aikman heaved a deep pass to top receiver Michael Irvin, but Deion Sanders got his hand in on Irvin and interfered with him. Irvin couldn't make the catch, but officials missed the penalty and didn't throw a flag.
The whole Cowboy sideline is looking for a penalty on this one. He gets his left hand in there.
Dallas would turn the ball over on downs, and San Fran would win the game before destroying the San Diego Chargers in the Super Bowl. Trey Flowers called for phantom hands to the face. The Lions were awfully close to escaping with a very rare win at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football in Week 6 of the 2019 season. But a pair of horrendous calls against pass rusher Trey Flowers were just too much to overcome. Leading by 9 with 10 minutes left in the fourth, the Lions got a huge 3rd down sack on Aaron Rodgers, but Flowers was penalized for hands to the face, even though it never really happened. And then after the 2-minute warning, the Packers faced a pivotal 3rd down situation in the red zone. Rodgers threw an incomplete pass towards the end zone, but Flowers was issued another phantom hands to the face penalty. So Green Bay got a fresh set of downs, melted the clock, and set up Mason Crosby's easy game-winning field goal.
That's twice on Trey Flowers that the refs have blown the call.
Booger, I do agree based on what we've seen so far.
Just 2 awful hands to the face calls on Flowers, both on pivotal 3rd down situations. Matt Hasselbeck's illegal block below the waist. The Super Bowl 40 is sadly remembered for the many officiating miscues that all went against the Seattle Seahawks. Literally every single horrendous call went Pittsburgh's way, and all of those horrible calls came at especially pivotal times of the game. But the ridiculous block below the waist call on Matt Hasselbeck following an interception was by far the worst. Even Al Michaels and John Madden criticized the call on live TV.
We think it's a bad call. If you cut a blocker low, that's a penalty. But that time, you made the tackle low, and that's legal.
The Steelers would ice the game with a trick play in which Antoine Randall found Hines Ward in the end zone to make it 21-10. 4 years later, Bill Levy, the head official of Super Bowl 40, admitted that his crew made some big-time mistakes.
We knew it was going to be tough going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't know we were going to have to play the guys in the striped shirts as well.
The Holy Roller Game. The San Diego Chargers were one defensive stop away from beating the rival Oakland Raiders in Week 2 of the 1978 season. They were clinging to a 20-14 lead with only 10 seconds left. Raiders QB Ken Stabler took the snap but was quickly under pressure, so he threw the ball, or rolled it forward depending on who you ask. Running back Pete Banaszak then flipped the ball forward, and tight end Dave Casper kicked the ball forward before recovering it in the end zone for 6. The Raiders made the point after to win the game. The play was so controversial that the league had to make a rule change about offensive players advancing the football, because what the Raiders did clearly should not have been allowed. Mike Renfro's TD catch that never was. The Houston Oilers visited the Steelers in the 1979 AFC Championship game, looking to advance to their first ever Super Bowl. The Steelers led 17-10 late in the third quarter, but the Oilers seemingly tied it up when Dan Pastorini completed a beautiful touchdown pass to Mike Renfro in the back of the end zone. Officials, though, ruled the pass incomplete, even though replays showed that it was clearly a catch. Houston had to settle for a field goal, and they didn't recover. The Steelers scored 10 points in the fourth quarter and won 27-13. But unfortunately, the NFL didn't introduce instant replays until the 1986 season. Hey refs, Miles Jack was down. The Jacksonville Jaguars were on the verge of stunning the Patriots in the AFC title game and booking their first ever trip to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for the franchise, it took an all-time referee mistake to cost the Jags the game. The Jaguars were leading 20-10 early in the fourth quarter. Linebacker Miles Jack made an incredible play and stripped Pats running back Dion Lewis of the football in Jacksonville territory. He had a clear path to the end zone for a defensive touchdown, but the officials mistakenly ruled that Jack was down and blew the whistle, making the play unreviewable. Replays showed Jack never went down, but nothing could be done about it. Instead of a touchdown, the Patriots forced a Jacksonville punt and outscored them 14-0 the rest of the way to win the game. If the officials had just let it play out, Jack would have essentially sealed the game right then and there. Phil Lucketts' coin toss mishap. The Lions-Steelers Thanksgiving 1998 game was a thriller that ended in controversial fashion. The game was tied 16 apiece going into overtime. During the overtime coin toss, Steelers running back Jerome Bettis called tails, but Luckett claimed he heard heads.
Call it plays in the air. Heads is the call. He said heads, it is a tails.
The coin landed on tails, the Lions won the toss and got to receive.
Oh, I wish he said tails. He did.
You changing the head.
And from there, they drove into Steelers territory and won the game on a Jason Hansen field goal. The Luckett Bettis coin mishap forced the NFL to change its rules so that the team must call heads or tails before the coin is flipped. The tuck rule game. It's safe to ask where Tom Brady would be today if not for the tuck rule. Brady's Patriots were trailing the Raiders by a field goal with less than 2 minutes to go in the snow-filled 2001 AFC Divisional Round game. Raiders star Charles Woodson stunned Brady with a blitz and stripped him of the football, which Oakland recovered to ice the game. But the referees curiously went to conduct a review. Referee Walt Coleman changed history by announcing that it was an incomplete pass due to the previously unknown tuck rule.
Reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an incomplete pass.
The fumble was overturned and Adam Vinatieri made a clutch field goal in the blizzard to force overtime. New England started with the ball in overtime, and Vinatieri made the game-winning field goal to seal the controversial victory, which all helped to kickstart the Patriots dynasty.
Do you not believe the tuck rule was appropriately applied as it was written?
I do not. He had it, both hands on the ball. It's in his body. He ain't bringing it back into his body. It's a fumble.
But which do you think is the worst referee mistake in NFL history? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.